This is Learn English with Ease.
English made powerful, simple, and yours.
Hey there, welcome, or welcome back, to Speak Easy English. If you're here right now, let me tell you something. It's not by accident. You probably already know some English. Maybe you've been learning it for years. You can read it, understand movies, you've passed exams, you've studied grammar, you know the rules. And yet, when it's time to speak, something strange happens. Your mind goes blank, your voice gets quiet, you freeze, and you start asking yourself, why? Why can I understand so much, but when I try to talk, I can't say what I want? If that's you, today's episode is going to feel like a mirror, because today we're talking about a question that so many learners struggle with in silence. Why do smart, capable people still feel nervous, awkward, or blocked when speaking English? And more importantly, how do we fix it?
Jack, I love this topic because it's so common, especially with high achievers. You know, the people who are super smart in their own language. They're lawyers, engineers, nurses, creatives, entrepreneurs. But the moment they have to speak English, they feel like they lose 50 IQ points. And they don't talk about it because they feel ashamed. They think, I'm educated, I should be better at this. What's wrong with me? And that feeling, that gap between how smart you are and how you sound in English, it's painful. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Speaking a second language is not a measure of intelligence. It's a skill. And like every skill, it has emotional layers, cultural layers, confidence layers. And if those aren't in place, even the smartest person can get stuck.
Exactly. And I want to say something that might surprise some people. In my experience, the smarter someone is, the more pressure they put on themselves when speaking English. Why? Because they're used to being good at things. They're used to having control, to being clear, sharp, precise. But English doesn't work like that, especially in the beginning. You don't always have the right word. You don't always sound smooth. And if your identity is built on being the smart one, then making mistakes can feel terrifying. So what do smart people do? They stop talking. They stay quiet in meetings. They avoid conversations. Not because they don't know English, but because they don't want to sound less than, and that's the real tragedy, because the world is missing out on their voice.
That's so real, Jack, and I've felt it too. When I moved to France, I was doing my master's degree in French. And let me tell you, I had a 4.0 GPA back home. I was confident. But suddenly, I was in a classroom surrounded by native speakers, and I couldn't even finish a sentence without stumbling. And I remember thinking, they probably think I'm dumb. They probably think I don't belong here. But the truth is, I did belong there. I just hadn't learned how to let go of the need to sound perfect. So if you're listening to this, and you've ever felt small in English, like your intelligence disappeared the moment you opened your mouth, please hear this. Your ideas are still smart. Your thoughts are still deep. Your value hasn't changed, only the language you're using to express it.
I love that. And let's talk about where this block really comes from, because it's not just about English, it's about identity. Think about it. If you're used to being seen a certain way in your own language, respected, articulate, intelligent, and then suddenly you feel like a beginner again in English, that's an identity crisis. You're not just learning new words, you're learning how to be you in a different language. And that takes time. And the mistake most people make is this. They try to skip the emotional part. They think, if I just memorize more vocabulary, I'll sound smarter. But vocabulary doesn't fix confidence. Confidence comes from acceptance, from allowing yourself to sound like a beginner without feeling like a failure.
Yes. And I want to talk about this from the brain's perspective, because this struggle isn't just psychological, it's neurological. When you feel embarrassed or judged while speaking, your brain actually activates a fear response. It releases cortisol. It shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that helps you access language and think clearly. So if you've ever felt like your mind goes blank during a conversation, guess what? You're not broken. You're not stupid. You're just scared. And your brain in that moment is trying to protect you. But what it really needs is safety, calm, encouragement. And that's where emotional intelligence becomes just as important as linguistic intelligence.
That's such a powerful point, Emma, and it brings us to something we talk about all the time on this show: the difference between fluency and performance. Fluency means ease, flow, connection. Performance means pressure, fear, perfection. Most English learners are stuck in performance mode. They're trying to get it right instead of just getting the message across. So here's what we want you to try instead. Don't aim to sound smart. Aim to sound real, because real is relatable. Real is confident. Real creates connection.
Yes. And I'll give a little tip here, especially for all the smart learners listening. When you're speaking English, try switching your goal from impress to express, because when you try to impress people, your brain goes into stress. But when you focus on expressing your ideas, your feelings, your message, you naturally become more fluent. And here's the beautiful thing. People remember how you made them feel, not how perfect your grammar was. So if you say something simple, but say it with heart, people will listen. And they'll remember you, not for your accent, but for your authenticity.
That's it. And I just want to say, if no one has told you this before, let us be the first. You do not need perfect English to be respected. You do not need native-level grammar to be taken seriously. You are allowed to take up space, to speak slowly, to make mistakes, to pause, to try again. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you human.
And if anyone ever made you feel less than because of your English, that says more about them than about you. You're learning a second language. That's not embarrassing. That's impressive. You're expanding your mind. You're crossing cultures. You're opening doors. And trust me, that takes a kind of intelligence that no test can measure.
So let's leave you with this thought. Being smart in your language is easy. Being brave in a new language, that's next level. And fluency? Fluency isn't about sounding perfect. It's about sounding like yourself, even in a language you're still learning. So next time you feel small in English, remind yourself, I'm not behind. I'm building something. I'm becoming someone. And I don't have to sound perfect to be powerful.
Yes, yes, yes. And if this episode spoke to you, we'd love to hear about it. Leave a comment, share it with someone who needs this reminder. Because trust us, there are millions of smart, thoughtful people out there who are struggling silently. And your voice might be the one that sets them free. Until next time, speak easy. Be kind to yourself. And remember, you're smarter than you sound, and you're getting stronger every time you speak.